We've been partnering with Geology for a long time now. Getting into skincare as a man of my generation is a little bit intimidating. Geology made all of that incredibly simple. I felt very confident using all of their products. One of my favorite products is their all-natural deodorants. They don't overthink the manly scent, but it's still kind of manly, if that makes sense. They're all natural scents from, like, the Big Sur one really smells like pine and kind of sea spray. They're really good. They don't irritate my skin. They're fantastic and wonderful. Their deodorants are vegan, cruelty-free, dermatologically tested, and aluminum-free, which is a really big deal. It's super important for me. Is this my favorite one? Yeah, this is it. I can't believe you said it smells like citrus. There's like a little citrusiness to it, but it really smells like pine and sea salt. If you guys want to make use of their 5-year anniversary sale, the best deal I think they've ever offered to anybody, not just my viewers, but anybody, then you should do that today. When you click on the link, you can take 70% off your personalized skincare trial set and then take an additional 30% off anything that you add on and use BARFLY70 at checkout. GEOLOGIE. There's nothing better than when there's easy history or technique to trace a country's cocktail history through. It's nice to have a clean through line, making it easy to form a narrative. And more often than not, this isn't possible. Cocktails spring up, as does a place's cuisine, in quiet bars and restaurants, either gaining popularity over time or dying on the vine. And sometimes it's very difficult to parse out what makes a region's cocktails different from any other place. Luckily for us, there is a way to form a narrative around the cocktails of Brazil, and that would obviously have to be through the lens of its national spirit, cachaça. So what is cachaça? Cachaça is a sugarcane spirit made exclusively in Brazil and is most often thought of and really best understood as a style of rum. There are those people who would take issue with cachaça being called rum. It may very well have been created before rum, and it is made with fresh sugarcane juice as opposed to molasses, which most rum in the world is made from. And I'm sure if you spoke to any Brazilian, they would say it is its own category of spirit, and that is true. But for the sake of accuracy and to make this a little easier to understand, cachaça falls into the category of rum. And there are rums such as rum agricole, which are made exclusively from fresh pressed cane juice. And the definitions of rum states that it can be made from any form of sugar cane. So cachaça definitely falls into this rum category. Regardless of what anyone says, come at me. Cachaça is made by harvesting sugarcane and pressing it with metal rollers to extract its juice. That juice is then fermented with yeast and distilled. Although most producers use sugarcane grown in Brazil, many use different varieties of cane to impart different flavors into the spirit. Once fermented, the fermented wash is run only once through a column still, although artisanal producers tend to pot still their cachaça. Once distilled, some are bottled directly after distillation, making like a white cachaça, and some are rested in steel tanks as they await the aging process, where they age in barrels. Aging is where most of the flavor is going to be imparted into the spirit, and it's really what makes cachaça so unique. Some distillers opt to use French or American oak barrels, both new and used, to age their cachaça, much like other spirits, while many use woods indigenous to Brazil. Each of these choices is going to create a spirit with a lot of variety, bottle to bottle. And to my mind, that's exactly what makes cachaça such an exciting spirit. Okay, guys, that's enough talking. I think you've earned it. Let's go and make the cocktails. The Caipirinha is thought to have originated in Parte São Paulo, Brazil, and was thought to have first been used as a remedy to ease the effects of Spanish flu toward the end of World War I. Although this is Brazil's national drink, it has 100% reached classic status, and it has traveled the globe bar to bar. Any bar worth its salt should be able to make you a good caipirinha. And I also just want to state that I have made a lot of different caipirinhas on this channel before. Today we're going to be going with a more classic build. So the first thing we're going to do is take a lime, and we are going to cut it into wedges. And what a lot of people say they like to do is to remove the white pith, because that white pith can produce a little bit of bitterness into your cocktail. Today I'm going to take out the pith just because I don't think I've done that on a video yet. I usually don't, for two reasons. One, a little bit of bitterness inside a cocktail helps to temper the sweet notes of a cocktail and give it a little more complexity. And two, when you muddle this, as long as you're not muddling crazy, you're not going to extract a ton of bitterness from that pith. So really, I don't see it as a problem. But today, just because we'll do it. So we're just gonna take a sharp knife here. You know what, I'm actually gonna cut this a little bit. I'll make it a little easier. And then you're just gonna run the blade and cut it off. And so we're just gonna do that. And then what we're gonna do is take our glass here. I like to use caster sugar because it dissolves it a lot easier. 2 teaspoons of sugar. And then we're gonna put in our limes, and I like to put them peel side down so that you can extract the oil when you muddle. And then we're just gonna muddle this. You wanna muddle it to extract all the juice and of course to express the oils from the peel, but you don't wanna be crazy. So you wanna do a really deliberate movements here. 2 ounces of unaged cachaça. I'm gonna use still strength here. Give it a little oomph. And honestly, it doesn't have to be unaged cachaça. Traditionally, you'll find unaged cachaça in a caipirinha, but you can use barrel-aged ones to give more complexity to the drink if you'd like. All right, we're gonna add in our rough cut cubes, fill the glass up, and we're gonna give this all just a stir until a sweet ice settles and it's all chilled. All right, cheers. It's freaking amazing. It's a nice typical lime sour. You've got your lime, you've got your sugar, those are balancing each other out. We're using granulated sugar here, and some bartenders who make this opt for using simple syrup, which is going to give you a much more consistent cocktail. It's gonna be much more consistently balanced right off the bat. But I like to tout the virtues of using granulated sugar. I do that in my old fashioned as well. You get a little bit more evolution in the glass because not all of the sugar is going to dissolve right off the bat. And so what you have is a drink that evolves as you drink it. As the ice melts and it adds more water, the drink changes. And so really the first sip is a lot different than the last. But what's nice is that you have a range of balance in this cocktail. It's a little bit more tart and a little less sweet, and you get a little bit more of those tropical cachaça notes in the beginning of the cocktail. And then as it goes, it's a little bit more lime, candy, sugar, and then again, those tropical notes kind of informing that sweeter cocktail at the end of the cocktail. And it makes for this nice evolution. And so I really like the traditional build, although I have and I will continue to use simple syrup on occasion. So there it is, the Caipirinha. The Rabo de Gallo, which translates to rooster tail or cocktail in English, is a mid-century cocktail which originated in 1950 after the Cinzano Vermouth factory opened up in Sao Paulo, Brazil. According to Difford's guide, the drink was originally served as a shot, and then as time went on, it became a bigger drink. And also the build and ingredients really vary widely from region to region, which brings me to, I'm not gonna be using Cinzano in this recipe. I like it a lot better with Dolin or Coque de Torino, and so I will be using Dolin in this cocktail build, just FYI. I'm sorry to the traditionalists out there. 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth, 3/4 of an ounce of Cynar, 2 ounces of cachaça. I'm using Amburana. Grab some ice, like so. We're gonna take a glass and put our nicely tempered piece of ice in there as well. If you ever put your ice in a piece of glass and it has to sit there for a little second, it's always nice to try and just get rid of any excess water. Now we're just gonna strain our cocktail. Ooh, it made like a little bubbling. Did you hear that? That is a big piece of ice, my friend. That is a big piece of ice. And this is one of those rare cocktails that calls for a lime twist, which I love. But people always say they have such hard time getting a twist off a lime. And if it is overly ripe and very soft, it's gonna be hard to get that twist. But these ones are nice. So I like to try and get a very long one. If you get a little pith on the back, that's unavoidable with lime, so don't worry about it. And we'll twist it on the top, like so. Get that lime zest in there, and voila, let's taste it. That is such a nice balance. So you would think, because Cynar is such a vibrant flavor, that it would overrun this cocktail, but really the first thing that you get is the tropical notes from the cachaça. Cachaça has, I mean, to my palate anyway, not only that kind of rum agricole style grassiness to it, but it also has banana notes, it has a little pineapple, it has these really nice tropical fruits going on in it, and then you couple that with the Amburana wood that it's been aged in. All of that just meshes with the bitter notes of the Cynar, and then also the herbal notes of the sweet vermouth, making a really nicely balanced cocktail. And it would not be inaccurate to say that the Cynar is a major flavor profile. It just doesn't dominate the cocktail. It's so nicely balanced, and it is a nice drink for the summertime. It is really refreshing, even though it's a stirred drink and it has some bitters in it and some really big flavor profiles. You still get a real summer vibe off it. So there it is, the Rabo de Gallo or cocktail. I wasn't able to find much on the Batida Rosa other than that it's a very traditional Brazilian drink, and that's about it. It has been reconstructed by many well-known bartenders over the years, including Jeffrey Morgenthaler, and it's also listed on Difford's Guide. I'm not sure what the original specs of this drink are, but the ones that I'm using today are just the ones that I prefer. 3/4 of an ounce of pineapple juice, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, 1/4 of an ounce of 2-to-1, and I'm using cane sugar here, but like the darker, of less refined cane sugar, 1/2 ounce of grenadine, and last but not least, 1.5 ounces of cachaça. We're just gonna add in 1 ounce of club soda first. Give this a nice hard shake. And we're gonna add in our cocktail, a little ice. I just dehydrated these oranges here, so why not use a dehydrated orange? Voila! And then we can add the nice tea-like aromatics of the dehydrated orange. And guess what, guys? You can actually find some dehydrated oranges that we make to order on our website. So go check out our store. Let's give it a taste. Oh my God, it's like rum punch. You got the tartness of the lemon and the pineapple mixed. And then you have a little bit of those molasses notes from the unrefined cane sugar, which is also balancing out the cocktail along with the grenadine. That makes it nice and beautifully kind of pinkish. A little effervescence from the club soda. It is super refreshing, perfect for summer. There it is, guys, the Batida Rosa. The Macunaíma was created by Brazilian bartender Arnaldo Hirai in 2014 at his bar Boca de Ouro in São Paulo, Brazil, and is simply a lime sour with a hint of Fernet. The cocktail is named after a novel by Brazilian writer Mario de Andrade, published in 1928. This is a very simple drink and also a first-time shake, so we'll see how it goes. First thing we're gonna do is 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, followed up by 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup, 1/4 ounce of Fernet, and 2 ounces of cachaça. Now, this isn't a very old drink, and the original drink calls for the cocktail to be strained into a old-fashioned glass or like a singles glass without any ice. And honestly, I just don't like drinks in rocks glasses without ice, so I'm going to do it in this Georgian punch glass instead. We're just gonna add some ice to our tin here, give it a shake, and give it a strain. This drink calls for no garnish. There it is, let's taste it. Wow, it's like juicy and kind of full. You get the lime, but the lime is balanced out with that simple syrup. We used simple syrup that used refined cane sugar, so it's gonna be nice and sharp. It's like a sharp lime candy. Adding in those herbal notes from the Fernet gives it depth and a little character that is really surprising. It's not, you don't get the mentholated notes. You get, it makes it fuller and more juicy. And then of course you get all of the notes of the cachaça as well, giving it a nice tropical feel. It is a beautiful cocktail, and it's one of my absolute favorite styles of cocktail because it is so simple, 4 ingredients, and then very complex. I know that it didn't like originally call for this, but I kind of want to just like do that. Not only does it look good, but also when you have fresh dehydrated citrus, you just get this really nice kind of tea-style citrus character off of it. And it's a really good way of adding complexity to your cocktails without actually adding anything into the drink that will manipulate the balance. You know, you're manipulating the flavor profile, but the cocktail stays balanced. So, you know, you have that like that, and then you can just, as you sip it, you're smelling it. And since your sense of flavor is really dominated about 85% by your sense of smell, you really add another flavor profile and more complexity into your drink. So we're doing that, even though it's not how it was created. I just like it. So there it is, guys, the Macunaíma. Something just occurred to me as we were shooting this video, and that is that I used Avua Cachaça for like every single cocktail we did today. And you guys are probably gonna think this is a sponsored episode, but it's really not. It's just the cachaça that I have on hand. And then I also have a lot of expressions of it because I really like it. Aged in all sorts of different woods. And so it was really easy to kind of switch them in and out of the you know, kind of cocktail recipes, but this is not a sponsored episode at all. So just wanted to say that. So we bartended our way through 4 pretty brilliant Brazilian cocktails. Go out, make some Brazilian cocktails, eat some Brazilian food, and I'll see you guys on another time.